Okay, this is a winch mount, custom made for a 2008 Can-Am Renegade 800X. It is using the factory Can-Am bumper. It will be using the factory Can-Am grill. It does have an aftermarket Ricochet skid plate on it to go under the bumper. There weren't a lot of modifications required to the quad itself, except slight trimming on the bottom of the front grille for a piece that hangs down that bolts to an aluminum bracket. I had to trim that off. The winch mount is made all out of 3/16 steel. Nothing special. It uses flat plate for the winch mount. It uses 1-inch bar for the extensions coming out the back and top, and going to the bumper down here, it's 1 1/4. Inside this winch mount, which was custom made by me at work on my free time, is a Warren 3,000 pound XT30 winch, which is the synthetic lined winch they have. Good winch. I wanted this winch. I've had these winches before on previous quads, so I had to custom make a way to mount it to this new one that I have now. Overall, very strong design, is at least as strong as the Can-Am frame and mounting points would allow. There's not a lot of mounting points in the front of the Can-Am, so I had to come up with my best ability to get them as strong as I could with no flex. Right now the winch is wound opposite of the way it comes from the box to allow it to feed out the top. Warren does go against this. They say it'll affect the brake. They say it'll affect it. I am going to try it and see if it works, because it feeds almost directly into the roller fair lead. If it does not work and the brake starts to malfunction, I will rewind it so it originally feeds off the bottom. We will give it a whirl and see how it works. I have used it in the field with just the bracket, no bumper or anything, and it worked very good for pulling out an ATV. Attempted to pull out a tree about 3 to 4 inches in diameter, and it started to flex at the frame mount, which is right mounted here on these bowl holes, which wraps around the frame like the factory bumper, and started to flex at this point. So I redesigned it and added these brackets, which go to bolts that are just behind the upper arm brackets to add more strength and flex. Now at that time the bumper wasn't on, which will also add strength. So far it is worked out very well. Currently it is just painted with primer, paint, and clear coat. As you can see, as I zoom in, I did have to design for the constraints that are on the Renegade in size that the winch mount and winch are literally wrapped around each other. I had to cut that indent out for the tie rods, as Warren calls them, to make sure they cleared. It is a very tight fit, but it was the best I could design in the space. If you notice, if I can get a good shot, the roller fair lead will sit right there, where the synthetic line is coming out behind the bumper. I wanted this because the Renegade is quite long to begin with. I couldn't come up with a reliable mount to put it in front of the bumper without doing serious modifications to the factory bumper. So I put it behind the bumper and made the mount go to it. But it'll work for anything except maybe plowing, because it will rub on the bottom of that hole in the bumper, which I will show future video when I get it finally mounted onto the quad and go from there. Otherwise, so far I'm very happy with the fit and finish I have gotten out of it. The holes lined up perfectly after I marked them and drilled them. And we shall see how it looks when it's mounted up. And I'll try to do as much video of the procedure as I can, so you guys can see the steps. That way, if anyone would like to, they can copy this. And I will talk to you when I get it on the quad.